Hello, reporter room investigators. It's great to see you today. I wish it was under better circumstances, but we're going to be talking about the disappearance of Riley Strain. Just a little bit of an overview. My name is Jessica Della Davies. I'm an investigative journalist. My job is to investigate crimes, crime scenes, and potential suspects and show you how to do the same thing. Everything I'm sharing is my opinion. So thank you to our subscribers, our mods, and our awesome channel members. If you haven't subscribed, please.
This is Reporter Room with Jessica Della Davies.
We have so much to unpack on this case. We're going to be talking about developing breaking information. We're going to be looking at maps. We're going to be looking at the Cumberland River. We have a lot of great information on this. So come on in, come on in. I am going to do one thing, which is I have the Richard Allen video supposed to go out today. I'm going to move that really quick to tomorrow just because I obviously won't be there for the premiere because I'm on with you guys today. So let's just put that till tomorrow. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's get started. So this is Riley. He has been missing, and I'm just going to pull this in for you guys. I'm going to do like a very brief overview, just a quickie, because I think a lot of you guys know this case already. And then we're going to talk about the latest on Riley. This is obviously a developing story. So let me just share this with you real quick. Let me take this down. So we're going to go through this map together, this time frame. Let me close this out. Okay, let me make myself a little bit smaller. And add this in. Okay. There, that's better. All right, come on in, guys. Please share this out on social media. We are trying to find a missing person. So just a quick overview for those of you that don't know this case. So Riley Strain went missing in Nashville, Tennessee. He disappeared on March 8th. He was out with his friends. He was only 22 years old. He was a student at the University of Missouri. He had been enjoying a trip to Nashville with his fraternity brothers, and surveillance footage shows him stumbling and struggling to walk a straight line after he became separated from his friends. He was kicked out of a country music bar called Star Luke Bryan's Bar. Luke's 33. So he hasn't been seen since. He has sparked a huge manhunt. He's really tall. He's 5'6" tall. He's thin with blue eyes and light brown hair. And I have the phone number scrolling below for if you have any credible tips. So according to the National Missing and Unidentified Persons, we know that over 600,000 people go missing, but this was really strange. And we have all this body cam footage. So according to the Metro Nashville police, Riley reportedly left the bar around 9:40 p.m. on March 9th. He was asked to leave. He didn't leave voluntarily. He had told his friends he was going to go back to the hotel and he would meet them there. But his friends, one of them walked downstairs with him, but didn't leave with him. And I'm going to show you surveillance footage in just a second. But he's stumbling off in the opposite direction, according to surveillance video, the opposite direction of his hotel. And this was right off of Church Street. So he can be stumbling onto Gay Street, which is near the Cumberland River, holding his head in some of the footage. So I don't know if he was slipped something, if he was intoxicated and took something, if he drank something. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I don't know if somebody had followed him out of the bar, seen a very intoxicated young man, a John Wayne Gacy type or something. But this is the map of the area. And I'm going to go through his, but you can see here, this is the Cumberland River, and we're going to be doing a map discovery in just a few minutes. I'm going to show you the Cumberland Dam because that was closed today. So a huge police hunt was launched involving search teams on foot. And they also used drones, helicopters, and boats. So college students, they drove. His college buddies and some just that went to the same college with him drove to help join in the search. So what happened to Riley Strain? Because it has sparked concern. Was he overserved at Luke's 32 Bar Bridge? The bartender says he only served 1 drink and 2 glasses of water. Is this true? Or was he given more? Or had he been, doing a bar crawl? So let's go through this together. So that's a very brief overview. And let's go through all of this together. So let me just grab this really quick. Okay. So let's go through his last, retracing his steps. You can see this is the Luke 32 bridge here. This is the Tempo by Hilton. This is where he was supposed to be going. But instead of going this way to the Tempo by Hilton, he ended up following this red line you can see. And here's sighting number 2, sighting number 3. And then a final phone ping went off. And then his bank card was found on a very steep bank. This Cumberland River has a very big drop off. So let's look at that together next. Let me grab it. Okay. You guys should be able to see that okay. All right, so we're going to talk about water depth, current, temperature, and how this would impact Riley if he had fallen in. So, and I have a whole bunch of packages to go through with you guys. Is the Cumberland River really dangerous? Yeah, it really is. The Office of Emergency Management launched boats on the river twice as part of a coordinated search for Riley. He was last seen Friday, and I told you he was walking near the Gay Street and First Avenue, according to the Nashville Fire Department spokesman, Kendra Loney. Now, his friends reported him missing, but he wasn't reported missing until the following morning. So where was he last seen? He was last seen in a brushy area with cliffs that would make it pretty hard for him to just have fallen straight into the river. He would have had to have rolled down into the river. So did somebody follow him? Because his credit card was found by TikTokers on the embankment. So did somebody follow him? But the only thing that makes me think that maybe this isn't true is because the credit card wasn't used, the debit card wasn't used. Was it something more nefarious like the Smiley Face Killer or John Wayne Gacy, who was, just picked people out at random? So let's talk about the Cumberland River and some of the things that could be affecting finding Riley if he is in the water. So undertows can be present anytime. So did he go down there because he had been slipped something? Take off his shirt, and that's how the debit card ended up on the shoreline? Did he take off his shirt because maybe he had thrown up on himself and he was trying to wash his shirt? Or was he just completely out of it? What do you guys think? Undertows can be present anytime there's wind and strong currents in the river system. However, typically through the downtown area, the river is narrow and the river current is the greater danger. So was he pulled out by a current? A strong river current alone could cause even a good swimmer, even if he went in and he was intoxicated and thought, I'll go for a swim. This could make it very hard for him to get back onto shore. But it doesn't explain the credit card, the debit card sitting on the embankment. That's just weird. Did somebody put it there to mislead authorities? Did somebody kidnap him? So Cumberland Kayak and Adventure Operations Manager Dylan Schultz said that there were several variables that could cause even more danger for those navigating the rivers. So, how fast does the water travel? This is one of the factors. So, water velocity, or how fast it was going, that's just a fancy way to say that. When Riley was last seen, was measured at 3.81 feet per second. So, and it would have peaked around 10:30 on March 9th. So, day to day, the current can vary. So, it's not at an unusual level, but people who know the river well are saying that it would be difficult to swim against the current. So if he did fall in or got pushed in, or was his credit card just left there to mislead authorities? Um, so the National Oceanic Atmosphere Administration defines current currents as those with speeds up to 8 feet per second. But water velocity isn't the only factor to consider. Depth is also really important. So if he did fall in, why hasn't he surfaced? We're going to talk about that in just a second. So on March 8th, the USGS reported that the river was 24.66 feet deep at 10 p.m. It's since changed, and the water level, um, with the water level rising to 20.171 feet as of 1:30 on Wednesday, obviously. So despite these readings, Schultz said that much of the Cumberland River is very shallow enough to stand in. So he was tall. This guy was 5 feet 6 inches tall. So he estimated that the average person can stand in the river anywhere from 10 to 15 feet from the shoreline. So again, this just, you know, unless he was just passed out and fell in, but then how did the credit card end up on the shore bank? It's really wild. So, but it does drop off quickly. So had he waded into the river for some reason? I'm going to say hello to Chad in just a second. Come on in, guys. Please share this on your socials. We do need to get word out about this missing person. People need to know he's missing and be on the lookout for him. If this was something nefarious and somebody planted that credit card to mislead law enforcement and have them searching the river and something nefarious happened to him, people need to be on the lookout for him. So the other big thing is at night, it comes from transportation barges that float along the Cumberland, combined with low air temperatures. So on March 8th, on the night that Riley disappeared, the temperatures were as low as 56 degrees. So Landon pointed out that the water temperatures could have been in the 50-degree range. So this also could be that he waded in and got hypothermia because the water is cold and he wasn't able, even though he was able to stand up due to the current, he wasn't able to get out fast enough. Did he succumb to hypothermia? But they haven't found him. And as I shared at the beginning, Riley is, this is a picture of Riley. He's 6'5". He's tall. He's thin with blue eyes and light brown hair. So he was out with a group of Delta Chi fraternity brothers on Friday night. He got kicked out of the Luke's Bryan's bar at around 10 p.m. Unfortunately, they did not go with him. His friends did not go with him. So let me grab the next package that I have for you guys. And I do want to say hello to chat. I do want to show the map of the area because they closed the this is the map. So they closed the Cheatham Dam. This is the Cheatham Dam right here. Let me zoom in a little bit. So this is the dam. It's one of 8 dams that runs along the Cumberland River. So they closed this in an effort to see if they could find him. This is what the Cheatham Dam looks like. You can see here that, hopeful, if he did fall in and if he is in the water and the current was pulling him along, then it seems like he would have gotten caught in here. So this is the dam right here. Let me say hello to chat. I don't want to be rude. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And please consider sharing this on your social media platforms. We need to get the word out about this guy. All right, tell me where you're from. Hi, Daylight. And A1 Street is here. Hi, Jane. Leslie's here. Keone, my bet is on a misadventure. So, do you think, Keone, that he just fell in? That maybe he was, um, stumbling down the street? We saw where he ran into a pole. I do have some videos I'm going to show you in just a second. Did he stumble in and fall in? Now, you could stand in this river, just falling down the river because of the embankment. He wouldn't just like go from the cliff right in. He would have landed on the ground. So how did he end up in the water? Was he trying to go for a swim? What do you guys think? Hey, Njaz. Please share this on your socials. We do need to get the word out. Leslie wants to know, did he get pushed in? Yeah, I don't know. Nobody has used his credit cards since, so I don't know. And Jazz says, my heart breaks for the family. Mine does too. Leslie puts hurt for his family. Eileen says, a very credible psychic did a reading on Riley. She got one that one guy put something in his drink at the bar. It messed him up, and she saw him fall in the water while vomiting. Yeah, it could have been. I mean, yeah, Jane, I think the credit card is weird. It could be that he was throwing up, and that the card fell out while he was, vomiting, and maybe he tried to take off his shirt and wash it in the river and just ended up in the water. Could stand up because it's 10 to 15 feet offshore. He would have easily been able to stand up, but it was 50 degrees. So did it just take him too long because he was impaired, or did he pass out? Leslie said, I wonder if the river has an undertow. It does. Jane says there's strong currents. You're right, Jane. And Jess says, very odd unless he tripped and rolled down the embankment and the card came out. Yeah, the embankment, it should have stopped him though, because there's so much brush on the embankment that it just doesn't seem like he would have ended up in the water like that. Leslie said, I live on the Columbia River in Gorge in Oregon. The river is very dangerous. Marilyn wants to know, kept in his pocket or wallet? Yeah, that's the $1 million question, right, you guys? Did he keep this in his pocket, or was this in his wallet? Hey, Holly. Marilyn said he's 6'5". That is correct. Kathy says he's 6'7". I have only found 6'5" on the sources that I've been able to find, but sources can get things wrong sometimes. J.R. Nana Boomer says, did he carry a wallet? Some people have a card holder on their phone. We don't know. We don't know yet. Marilyn's heard 6'5" or 6'7". I've heard 6'5" on the article that I just shared with you. And Jess says, everyone watching, please hit the button. It's really appreciated. Yeah, please hit the button. It does really help me a lot. This is our head mod. This is 6 Cents Amelia. All right, Bob says, not enough info on his personal health for me to vote. That's okay. Yeah, I have a poll going. So if you guys think he fell in the water by accident, like he went down there and fell in, and like maybe to wash his shirt and put his debit card on the side and just fell in and got hypothermia, put a 1 in the chat. If you think that he was pushed in, put a 2 in the chat. If you think someone was following him and put that card on the riverbank, put a 3 in the chat. Because I mean, we do know from guys like John Wayne Gacy, he would pick out victims and he would do what he could to mislead people as to where he was. XYZ thinks he's 6'6" tall. Good to see you, Bob. Leslie says that's scary. All right, well, come on in. Come on in. Thank you, Holly, for sharing this. Yeah, please share this. 6 Cents Amelia is all the way from New Zealand. Carol said, there's been a circulating filter device near the dam. It's been shut off for now. Yes, we're going to go through that. Hey, Olwen, we just got started, so you're fine. I'm late. I think accident. Was a homeless person wearing his shirt? Well, we're going to dig into all of that in just a second. We don't have one, Amelia. They haven't found him yet. He's missing. That's why we're trying to get the word out there. Jane says she thinks the card makes it look like foul play, but no one used it. Yeah, so was it just placed there by him, or was it placed there by someone else just to mislead law enforcement? So they would be looking in the river. Carol says not confirmed yet regarding the shirt. All right, so let's go through this. I have so much information to dig into. Um, let me open this up. And let me share this one instead. Got a video for you. Can you guys see that okay? Let me make myself smaller. There. All right. So this is what it looks like on the embankment. You can see. So did he come down here to take his shirt off just to wash himself? Had he thrown up? Or did he think it was gonna be good to go and, for a swim? Or did a homeless person, push him in and, you know, just, mentally not all there? But you can see, look at the brush at the bottom of this. If you look at the brush and the trees, it seems like something would have caught him, although he could have rolled all the way down and into the water. But then he should have been able to stand up, you guys. Um, so I don't know. What do you guys think? See the brush? So if you look at this, you can see that it should have been like these trees and some of the bush. See all the brush down here at the river's edge? It should have been able to stop him from going into the water, in my opinion. This should have acted as a stopgap for him before he went in. So I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think? Did somebody push him in? Was it, someone homeless that was just hearing voices and decided to give him a push? Let me grab the next one for you because we have so much stuff to get into.
The dam is not close to Nashville, folks. Not close. It's a long way.
This is
I would need an
WFLA.
expert on stream to describe the likelihood that if something terrible had happened to Riley, whether intentional or unintentional, and he ended up in the river, what is the likelihood that he could make it all the way to the dam in 12 days' time? There are so many factors that come into play.
Yeah, he's still missing.
Being one of them, the condition of the remains being another, also has to be stated. But wildlife, if it's human remains, look.
My understanding is that the card was found on the bank of the river, and that's all we know.
It's a grim topic, but there's going to be a wildlife component to it as well, and so and for the again.
That's a great point, Olwen, because there's a lot of medications that can make you feel that way, right? Including
grim topic. So viewer discretion is advised, but depending on the condition of the remains, how likely is it the remains would end up intact at the dam itself? There's a lot of different places you can clearly see, even with these bridges, a lot of different places where something could get caught, especially with someone being, if Riley was still fully clothed at the time of submersion.
Yeah,
you're talking about his clothes potentially getting caught on anything on the bottom of the river surface or on something in the way, like the pillar of a bridge. There's a lot of different obstacles between him getting from downtown Nashville all the way, again, all the way. What's the distance? The distance is immense. Bring it up here on Google Maps.
No, they're searching now. We're watching the search.
Dam.
Arlene.
And
Yeah, we're going to talk about that, John. You're right. Good comment.
It's 30 miles. Minimum 30 miles. That is a long, think about that for a moment. Long way.
That's a lot of area to search, you guys. 30 miles is a lot of area to search, but they did close off the dam. So hopefully that will, if he was going to end up anywhere, it would be trapped into that, in that.
Point A to point B.
If he is in the water.
So I'm curious for this basic shutdown at the dam.
Thanks for that, JR.
Local officials were more hopeful that they were going to find a sign of Riley rather than Riley himself.
Yeah, me too,
Any
Olin.
other item or a garment of clothing or anything else that might have washed up that at least tells them that Riley did in fact make it to the river. But yeah, so burping the river. I had not heard of that term. That's new.
He's been missing since March 8th, you guys. 25 to 30 miles.
Let's see. Shauna says, hey, JB, there's been a lot of us who live here in Cheatham County that have been out on foot and in boats searching for a couple of days, sending so much love and prayers to Riley and his family. That's yeah. I hadn't seen any video or heard of any reports of anybody, in the area of the dam, Shauna, that had been actually, searching. But that's of course speaks to the people of Tennessee who are just trying to help. I mean, that's extraordinary. Yeah, you just want to help this family and provide them with some answers. Hearing about how close Riley was with his mom. I mean, talking multiple times a day, as a 22-year-old college student, you hear so often about college students that, are enjoying their independence and don't call their parents and don't call home as much as they should. You're hearing about Riley, who was in constant contact with his mom. And that's why his mom knew that something wasn't right pretty early on in the story, because the contact just ended. I mean, everything went cold very.
So you can see how vast the river is. You can see how wide it is. You can see how big it is. This is going to take time to find Riley, in my opinion, unless he is in that dam. It's going to take time, especially with river currents and the fact that he could have been caught on debris and be stuck underneath. He could have, caught on something, a rock or a log or some type of debris, as he was, if he is there.
Very fast.
If he is even there.
Emily's here with us in the comment section. Hey, Emily, hope you're good.
Yeah, we're going to do that in a minute, Amelia.
It is the volunteer state for a reason. Glad to see your coverage. Yeah. Had to, yeah, Emily, good to see you in the comment section. Yeah, look, I've known a couple of people, including you, Emily, from the state of Tennessee, and just some phenomenal people. And so I know that people are doing everything that they can to help. But this is a story where, my goodness, you just hope that we get answers sooner rather than later. The more that this drags on, the more that this is just an incredible heartache for this family and for all of his friends. And think too, I mean, my goodness, there's also all the fraternity brothers that went with Riley on this trip for this convention in Nashville. And
It's so sad that that who he was there with, his fraternity brothers, that nobody stayed with him that night. I mean, he was so intoxicated, he was removed from Luke's. So why did they let him go off by himself? Had it not fully kicked in yet? Was he looking a little bit better than what we saw in the videos? Because we saw him almost falling down, and I'm going to share that with you in just a
thinking
moment.
about all the people that the story affects.
I just want to give you guys a feeling of what the search is from
Deborah,
on the Cumberland
are
Dam.
these boats searching using sonar for underwater? Yeah. So I'm trying to find out exactly, look, how much sonar is there? Will there be a grid search? How strategic will sonar be? Or will the sonar search be? Because sonar is a tool, but without the right strategy, and I know because I've talked to rescue officials in the past, you have to deploy sonar with a strategy in mind, and doing it and making sure that you are, and that becomes exponentially harder, by the way, at night. Visibility is low, and just making sure that these teams are communicating. But how many teams are there? How many sonar boats are going to be in the water tonight? How much ground can they cover per hour? These are major questions because, again, the river's massive. It's big. And so you have a couple of obvious starting points, really starting with where near the...
Thank you so much for being a channel member for a month, Lolo. Appreciate you. I do have to do a little bit of commentary.
The location of the discovery of the bank card, but it's been 12 days. So let's go back to video from the dam to show everybody. We were talking about the burping technique.
And even the dam is massive. It's absolutely massive.
At the top of the dam. This is from WKRN, our sister station in Nashville, and they tilt down and they show. It's hard to see just how shallow things are here, but you would imagine that that's shallow enough to get all of that debris within, so that you can actually see it all. But so far, no luck. So far, no results.
So I'm going to come back to this in just a second, but I just want to show you a couple of other things that I've been looking up. I want to show you the body cam of him. So let me see if I can get this to play. If I can get it to play. Oh, we have to go through an advertisement. The body cam is, this is going to show Riley with a brief exchange with the Nashville police officer. And then we are going to go back and watch the search. So he didn't seem distressed, but he did in this video where the police officer sees him, he doesn't look that intoxicated. So maybe his friends thought he was okay. Did they think that he was all right? This is him caught on another video cam. You can see how tall and thin he is. This is what he looks like. So let me see if we can get this to play. I don't know. I might be better off using a different source. I think I have to get through this ad. Okay. There it is.
That Riley Strain disappeared, that missing a Missouri student. News Nation's Caitlin Becker covering the story joins me now here in New York. All right, so that's new video that's in. What can you tell us about it?
You know, important part is not necessarily what we see, but what we don't see. And I think we can take a look at a little bit more of that right now. So you're seeing this here. This is body cam footage from an officer who is there looking at a potential car burglary. Now, he interacts with Riley Strain, who is just kind of walking by, and it's very cordial. That's Riley Strain right there. They just do a quick back and forth. Hey, how's it going? What's important here is that he's not stumbling. He doesn't seem visibly intoxicated, or certainly as visibly intoxicated as he did in previous surveillance video, which was just from a few minutes before, which we've seen. And the officer said he didn't seem in distress. Here's that surveillance video. He can't even keep his head up straight. So I don't know if it was the presence of an officer, which may sober any of us.
Yeah, it could have been that he was just trying to look more sober for the officer.
We have brand new video just into us now. This
Let's
is from
look
the
at
police
him
in
again.
Nashville on the night that Riley Strain disappeared, that missing Missouri student. News Nation's Caitlin Becker covering the story joins me now here in New York. All right, so that's new video that's in. What can you tell us about it? So more than 30.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what it
More than 30 U.S. citizens are now home safe after evacuating Haiti on the first flight chartered by the State Department.
I don't know. It just rolled me into something different. Let me try one more time. Wow. That was...
Town Crier on Twitter. I see that. Thank you. Yeah, and this is what we're seeing a lot of now. You know, various reports that are coming out, like this one, just saying like nothing turned up.
Maps are important, and security cameras and critical witnesses, all that's invaluable. But to really understand the last known wanderings,
And I'm just pausing the WFLA so we're not missing anything.
You have to be there. And my colleague, Evan Lambert, is. He's live in Nashville tonight. He spent part of the day retracing Riley Strain's steps. Evan, I'm so glad you're doing this, because even with the maps, I get confused. Can you walk me through Riley's path?
Let's look at this together, you guys.
With those several data points on the map, it is confusing, especially if you don't know the area. And so we did spend a good part of the day walking around. And what I can tell you from the area here by the river where we are, where Riley Strain was last seen, to really where this story starts at the first bar that he was asked to leave. It's really only about a 15-minute or so walk if you're walking directly. Of course, we don't know the exact route he took because we have little pieces on surveillance video, but it is not terribly far away. But we took a look at all of those points a little bit earlier. Check it out. 9:35 on the night, Riley Strain goes missing. According to Luke Bryan's bar here on the corner of Broadway and 3rd, he was asked to leave after being served 1 alcoholic drink and 2 waters. Then 11 minutes later, a surveillance camera at downtown Smoke Shop catches Strain running and then falling near a pole in the parking lot. He gets up and continues out of the frame. A minute later, another camera catches him cross First Avenue North to Gay Street.
Can you see him? He's right here by the road closed sign.
At this point, he's less than half a mile from Broadway. And finally, our last pictures of Strain are here. Body camera video catches him interacting with a Metro Nashville police officer and appearing to be fine.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
This is
So did you see him? Let me back that up. Let's watch it one more time. Let's watch both the videos really quick. So
Avenue North to Gay Street.
You can
At
see
this
him
point,
here
he's less than half a mile from
on the
Broadway.
right of your screen.
And finally, our last pictures of Strain are here.
So what do you think? I think on that one, it does look like he's stumbling a little bit. What do you guys think? Was he slipped something or did he take something?
Body camera video catches him interacting with a Metro Nashville police officer and appearing to be fine.
How you doing, sir? I'm good. How are you? Good.
This is just a...
So he does appear to be okay there, but he could have just straightened himself up because he knew the police was there.
And appearing to be fine.
How you doing, sir? I'm good. How are you? Good.
This is just across from the Cumberland River, and take a look at how steep this is in this area. It's basically a cliff, some 30, 40 feet down to the water's edge. This whole area is covered with litter, debris, trash, homeless encampments. This is where TikTokers say they found Strain's debit card. It is nowhere near, about a half mile away from his hotel, which is off in that direction, nowhere near where he's...
So let's look at the map of where his hotel was together, you guys. So this is the map. And you can see the Tempo by Hilton is right here. So that's where he got out of Luke's 32, which was the bar, which is here. So he should have just gone like this and gone to his hotel. But instead, he goes off this way. And his phone finally pings near the embankment. And then his debit card is found right here. Let's watch one more time. I am going to go back to the search in just a second.
It is not terribly far away, but we took a look at all of those points a little bit earlier. Check it out. 9:35 on the night, Riley Strain goes missing. According to Luke Bryan's bar here on the corner of Broadway and 3rd, he was asked to leave after being served 1 alcoholic drink and 2 waters. Then 11 minutes later, a surveillance camera at downtown Smoke Shop catches Strain running and then falling near a pole in the parking lot. He gets up and continues out of the frame. A minute later, another camera catches him cross 1st Avenue North to Gay Street. At this point, he's less than half a mile from Broadway. And finally, our last pictures of Strain are here. Body camera video catches him interacting with a Metro Nashville police officer and appearing to be fine.
How you doing, sir?
Yeah, great question.
Good.
This is just across from the Cumberland River, and take a look at how steep this is.
So a lot of people feel like if there was something wrong, there was a police officer right there, but did he know that something was wrong? Did somebody slip him? I mean, the bartender could be not telling the truth about how many drinks he had. He could have been drinking at another place prior to arriving at this place, but he also could have been slipped something, and even his fraternity, or he could have taken something. His fraternity buddies didn't know, and it didn't fully kick in. It was kicking in, and that's why he was asked to leave. Obviously, he was being, doing something. But look at this embankment, you guys. This is absolutely very, very steep. Now, there are trees and bushes along the embankment that seems like it would break his fall, but if he did roll into the water, how did his credit card end up on the bank of the shore?
This area, it's basically a cliff, some 30, 40 feet down to the water's edge. This whole area is covered with litter, debris, trash, homeless encampments. This is where TikTokers say they found Strain's debit card. It is nowhere near, about a half mile away from his hotel, which is off in that direction, nowhere near where he's seen walking and his last cell phone pings are.
And his cell phone ping and Apple Watch apparently both turned off at the same time. So to me, that does suggest he was, maybe pushed into the river or fell into the river. He could have also been abducted if somebody decided to silence it.
And so it's very clear, Ashley, where the last pictures and the last cell phone pings are.
I guess the thing that's really bothering me, let me know what you think, is the fact that this debit card, this bank card, was found on the shore. How did it end up on the shore of the bank near where he was last seen? TikTokers found it, of course, because they always, law enforcement complain about social media sleuths, but Red, White, and Bethune, they're YouTubers, they found Gabby Petito's van, And maybe Gabby wouldn't have been found if it wouldn't have been for their dash cam footage. And Cindy Sue Hunter was crowdsourced on Facebook, and she went out and found Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner. So there's a history of YouTubers helping. Let's watch the
Riley
rest of
was
this.
not anywhere in the direction of the hotel that his friends thought he was going to make it to. Ashley?
Okay, Evan, I have this one question for you. In that last part of your stand-up, you're standing under a bridge, right? And that's typically where a lot of people would congregate because there's shelter. So there's a lot of homeless people who use, areas under bridges. Was it a walkway though? Like I was struggling to find out, would Riley have ended up walking under that bridge, or would he have had to decide to leave a walkway, scramble down to some people down there to have a chat? Like how would he have ended up in that spot if he was?
Wow, and Translucent saying both would have been waterproof. So why did they go off at the same time?
Yeah, so where we are, there is a sidewalk that goes around, and there's a balustrade, and then essentially a cliff, as I showed before,
Yeah.
30, 40 feet down to the riverbank. Now, there are a couple other areas of land a little bit over that guardrail, so maybe 15 feet down, there's some land, and then you can walk further down. But it's not designed really for people to go down there. But some people do, and that's where some of the people that are experiencing homelessness, that's where their encampments are, in those woods just over the guardrail. So you would have to be very intentional, or just really not having coordination at all, inebriated to the point where you might be sitting up and potentially fall, and then possibly roll down even further. But it is really a dramatic. When I got here, I didn't understand just how far it is from where we are standing, where Riley was walking in that body camera video.
Now it could be that the phone and the watch just became so soaked with water that they both went off, but it's weird that they went off at the same time.
To
Especially
the
if they're
river embankment all the
waterproof.
way down, and it's almost like you'd really have to try, but there is a way that if you were so inebriated that we saw him falling, it is possible that he fell and continued to go down that direction under the bridge. There is another bridge that he would have potentially crossed underneath after that video, but that's just along this sidewalk right here. So you're not. No stairs or anything to get down there.
So did he just fall off of one of the bridges? But again, how did that debit card end up on the embankment? Did it float down and that surfaced? And he got tangled on something and he didn't surface? It's weird, you guys.
Mysterious. I mean, just perplexing. Evan Lambert, thank you for that.
So credit to that to News Nation for that. Let's go back to the search. You guys haven't missed anything. I'm just pausing it when we're not watching it.
That something would be discovered today. I mean, you're talking about 30 miles of river, and the odds that human remains would have traveled from
I agree.
the river in Nashville all the way up to Ashland City, hour away, an hour drive out of the city. I mean, was it a needle in a haystack? Was it a Hail Mary? Only officials could say. And really, because we don't have that access with law enforcement, there hasn't been that press conference, that massive press conference where these types of questions can be asked. I know there's been some availability, but it hasn't been as consistent as some other stories that we cover in missing persons cases, when you're getting multiple updates, multiple press conferences, I should say, rather, per week. I think that Metro Nashville Police they've done a really good job of updating their Twitter account.
So you can see on the screen, that is the dam. That's called the Cheatham Dam on the Cumberland River. There's 8 dams on the river, and this is one of 8 dams. And let me just share a little bit of information on this with you guys. So according to the Tennessean, the Cumberland River spans 688 miles. We're not missing anything. I am just pausing it, but we'll go right back to it. So we're not missing anything. By pausing the live, we'll just pick up where we left off. It's cutting a path through southern Kentucky and middle Tennessee before connecting into the Ohio River. It runs through 2 major cities, Nashville, where this disappearance of Riley Strain occurred, and Clarksville, and there are 8 dams. So, there are undertows. The source for this is Captain John Landrum of the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency. So he says undertows can be present anytime there is wind and strong currents in the river system. However, typically through the downtown area, the river is narrow and the river current is in greater danger. Now we saw him falling. Did he fall in off one of the bridges? And I'm going to talk about how gas and decomp factor in just a minute. So please stay with me.
But sometimes reporters and the public at large just wants to be able to ask a follow-up question to get a better idea as to what the search efforts really look like.
You can see all the debris in that dam, you guys.
Isha says,
I agree. Positive vibes.
Having worked search and recovery before, it generally takes 2 to 3 days for remains in water to come to the surface to be found. Well, it has been almost 2 weeks now. Now, I would imagine that search efforts at the dam didn't just start today. That, of course, keeping an eye on the dam itself being such a pivotal point on the river, that you would imagine that teams were canvassing the river at the dam itself way before today. What makes today unique is the basic shutdown, this burping that took place, if you will, to basically eliminate as much water as possible, bring as much debris to the surface, and look for any signs of Riley. Again, got to use #HJB for me to put your comment on screen, or you can go to www.heyjb.live. If you do that way, that means that the comment kind of stays on my screen here to the left rather than just scrolls up and into, because your comments are coming into the stream center here quite fast. So really the only 2 ways that I can see your comment are with that hashtag or with or by going to that website.
I'm going to pause JB and I'm going to share this instead.
Questions. Riley's parents join me live now. His mom and stepfather, Michelle and Chris Whited, and his father, Ryan Gilbert. Thank you to all 3 of you for taking the time tonight to speak with me. And may I just say, I am so sorry for what you are all going through. I can't imagine the stress that you're under and how traumatizing this must be. Right. So let's get right to it. Let's help to drill down what we know and get the public working hard. So Michelle, you met with the police yesterday. Were they able to share anything with you that was at least satisfying? Anything that you're able to share with us or not able to share with us?
No, they just let us know where they are in the investigation and the videos that everybody has seen.
So what the media knows and what the public knows is the same as what you know, right?
Just a little bit. They, just so you know, we requested the meeting Friday afternoon late that we get to see the video footage. We had not seen anything or really heard from them too much throughout the previous week. So we were getting frustrated. We wanted to see what they had. So it's not like this was one of those deals. It came up after we called them to tell them that the TikTokers had found the debit card because they didn't know that it had been found, supposedly.
So how shabby of a job. I'm sorry, but I just kind of feel like they just didn't take this very seriously when this young man disappeared. Because how come TikTokers are going to close to where he was last seen and they're able to find this debit card, but law enforcement can't? Like, are they looking hard enough? What do you guys think?
They didn't know that the call had came in. We
poor
arrived
family.
before the police.
So I'll tell you what, I understand the sensitivity that you all are under. You do not want to criticize the police because right now they are your lifeline to continuing this investigation, to finding Riley. I, on the other hand, I can. And I am steaming mad that I interviewed a woman who works with the homeless who says she could have sworn she saw that shirt on a homeless man who was acting in an unusual way, had an unusual behavior, and that he had a bike, which is not normal, didn't ask for food, which is not normal, and that the shirt was perfectly clean underneath his dirty hoodie.
Whoa, let's listen to that one more time.
Behavior, and that he had a bike, which is not normal.
Okay, so this is somebody,
A woman
this
who
is the
works with
shirt.
the homeless who says she could have sworn she saw that shirt on a homeless man who was acting in an unusual way, had an unusual behavior, and that he had a bike, which is not normal, didn't ask for food, which is not normal, and that the shirt was perfectly clean underneath his dirty hoodie. And she
Okay, so that's where I saw you guys asking me about the shirt. So there's the shirt. This was Ashley Banfield found this.
perfectly clean underneath his dirty
Not law enforcement.
hoodie. And she has not been questioned, even as of today when we checked back with her. So, Chris, I'll just ask you if you were able to talk to the police about this, if they mentioned anything about it, if they've discounted it in any way, and why.
They have not mentioned that to us at all. We are aware of that. We've heard the same comment. We've also heard multiple people that have tried to call Crime Stoppers and leave tips and been told they don't know anything about a Riley Strain case. So lots of confusion.
Yeah, I think it's very possible, Jeff. I think it is very possible that he was rolled and maybe took his credit card and then, maybe, hearing voices, command type of things. I don't know, but I think it's absolutely shocking that this poor family has to get their information from TikTokers and news outlets and not law enforcement. Stacey thinks could the water have receded to leave? Yeah, it could have. It's very possible. That's a great theory, Stacey. That's a great theory. We're going to look at currents and how it would affect whether he would surface or not in just a second. But let's finish watching these parents. I just feel so badly for them that how they're finding out, like where his debit card is from TikTokers who went out and found it. Law enforcement didn't do it, and how they're finding out that a homeless man was wearing his shirt. I mean,
We're struggling. We're 10 days in, it's
Yeah, I can imagine. And I'll tell you what,
there
like
he
I
is.
said,
That's
I
Riley.
can criticize the police. I agree that you guys just have to keep your heads up and work with them. But Ryan, I will also say this, to have TikTokers who volunteered to look for Riley, find that bank card in what looked like a homeless mess of discarded clothing and junk on the riverbed.
Yeah, it looked like a homeless encampment, and now we're hearing that a homeless man was wearing his T-shirt. What is law enforcement doing? Was the card just left there to distract?
Made me really angry because I feel like it was right in the vicinity where Riley's phone pinged, and that there should have been a grid search done. This was found days and days after perhaps it should have been. Ryan, are they saying anything about that card and about the fact that it was TikTokers, not the police, that found it?
No, there hadn't necessarily been anything said about that. One would assume that since it was found in the vicinity of his last known whereabouts, that should have been canvassed pretty good. I think it just shines light on the B- job that the police force may be doing and following through and being detailed on this case.
Yeah, and no press conference today on this, you guys. No press conference, no updates. Maybe now they're starting to feel like there's a fire under them. When you have Red, White, and Bethune finding Gabby's van, at least law enforcement followed up on it and found Gabby, and they wouldn't have found her if it wouldn't have been for YouTubers. And then we have Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner. They wouldn't have been found if it wouldn't have been for Cindy Sue Hunter, because the Moab police said they just couldn't find them. Did they look? Because here's this woman who was crowdsourced on Facebook. She's not a detective. She went out and found them. And now we have TikTokers finding this. This is some lazy, sloppy, shabby police work, in my opinion.
I know they're overwhelmed, but it was at the location,
It's maddening. It's absolutely maddening that a member of the public who just wanted to help was able to find a critical piece of evidence that had the police done a grid search in that exact same area, might very well have seen it too. For instance, they're a lot more trained at searching than, say, a TikToker. But Michelle, it came to our attention today that Riley had been on the phone with, I think, either a girlfriend or somebody he had maybe started seeing. I'm not sure. Maybe you can characterize the relationship. And I think she asked him that night, "Are you having fun?" And the only text that she got back said something like, "Good lops," LOPS. And she couldn't understand what that meant. Can you shed some light on that communication, when it happened, what the circumstances were? And
so that was a bizarre. Now, it could have just been that he was intoxicated. It could be that he was slipped something, but it was LOPS. It could have been LOL, like good lull. Let's see what the parents think, because they know him better than anybody.
what happened afterwards?
I'm not able to, I don't know the communication that happened between him and her.
If you look on the screen near the road closed, you can see a homeless guy pulling his cart, just going down the street.
I'm not sure which, he's got several friends that are female, male. I mean, I don't know who that is.
And they're highlighted just about to pass the road closed sign right in the middle. That's Riley. You can see he's really tall, 6'5". Some people are saying 6'6", 6'7". I heard 6'5". Light brown hair, blue eyes.
Individual was that he talked to at that time.
Thank you for watching. Go to.
Wow. So really, really shocking. Let's go back to the search. Let me grab this.
Exotic birds here too. Bats, bald eagle. Okay, eastern copperhead snakes, a lot of snakes, timber rattlesnake, northern water snake, gray rat snake. Okay, so here we have now some more river wildlife. We have the alligator snapping turtle, common box turtle.
No, nobody tried to use that debit card. That's what law enforcement said.
Different species of fish.
But who knows? Did they even check? I don't even know what to think about this at this point. TikTokers found
if you
it.
were asking about gators, according to Cumberland River Basin,
Thanks,
there are
Cindy.
no gators up that way. We, of course, are so used to gators in the south. Commonplace in Florida, also commonplace in Georgia as well, Alabama, but not as far north as Tennessee, at least according to Cumberland River Basin's website, which catalogs some of the marine wildlife and other wildlife in that region of the country. I have seen some drone video.
I'm sure they did once this went live, especially hearing a B- rating from the parents. But gee whiz, I mean, he disappeared on March 8th. It's March 20th, and this is where we're at.
I don't know if it's law enforcement drone video. I know that
Wow.
they've had helicopters in the air. I would imagine the drones are so commonplace now. The drones used to be considered to be a specialty thing. But every law enforcement agency on the planet pretty much now, or at least in every major municipality.
I don't know. This reminds me of the Smiley Face guy or John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy would do stuff like put something. He was diabolical. He was burying these guys underneath his house, and he would just randomly pick people and kidnap them. And most of them did not survive. And he was like, very politically, he was like a family man. I mean,
municipality and even non-major municipalities.
Totally a
across the
creep.
country. Drones are there. Drones are part of the arsenal that can be deployed with a law enforcement agency, whether it's a standoff situation, whether it is search efforts, whether they are trying to navigate particularly dangerous terrain. No doubt drones are part of this. And I've even seen some non-law enforcement drones in the air taking video.
How much egg in their face is law enforcement going to have if non-law enforcement people find Riley and not them? We remember that when the Kylie Rodney case and we had Adventures with Purpose came in and found her, they said they had searched. She wasn't in the water. She was 15 feet offshore.
Video, because that video has been, of course, published online.
I agree.
Elisa says,
So some people think that this was a hazing. When I pause this, you're not missing anything. I'm not letting the live stream play on without you guys watching. So he just said,
"Do you
Elisa,
think we're going to get any more footage from the cameras around the area?" I would be surprised. We have got to the point now where you would imagine that just about every camera in that area has been thoroughly examined and canvassed. I was surprised the body camera video from the officer came out as late as it did, and that wasn't discovered sooner, even though that really doesn't tell us too much.
It does tell us the direction that he was going in, though. So again, it just feels like the police are like a step behind on all of this. I'm so disappointed.
I don't know. So F says, "Hey JB, do you think the where is he going question should have been brought up by that cop, since the cop knew he was walking into pitch darkness and there was a homeless encampment there?" No, not really. No, I don't. It's an officer is going to stop every single pedestrian and say, "Where are you going?" Even if it's in an area that is darker than other sections of town, even if there's a homeless encampment nearby.
So Kimmy thinks that he was trying to tell him that he was lost.
I've been to a lot of cities that have a lot of homeless encampments. Some cities have them all over the place. And so,
yeah, I mean, they could have been drinking as some kind of a hazing. I think that's a fair point, Lola. I think it's a very fair point.
if every officer or every deputy asked every person walking in a dark area or slightly dark area that happened to be near a homeless encampment, "Where are you going?" there'd be a lot of officers stopping a whole lot of random people. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
So I was not surprised by the video at all. The only thing that surprised me about the video that it even existed to begin with, because it was just so random circumstance for Riley to cross paths with an officer who was at that particular spot, who happened to have, of course, a functional body camera.
So Jane thinks that maybe somebody else answered her back. Did a homeless person have it, see the text come through and text back? What do you guys think?
Working and
I do too, Marilyn. I'm with you on that. He's pausing. I didn't pause him here. He's pausing to read. He's just catching himself up.
I really want to take a moment to shout out the great team at WKRN. They're working around the clock right now. Shout out to Sebastian Posey and his team. I know a little bit.
I know. And if you guys have loved ones who work in law enforcement, I'm not trashing all law enforcement. I just feel like in this case, they drag their feet, in my opinion.
The operation there in Nashville. And and they're working really, really hard to just present information as it happens and document the search as it's transpiring. So follow WKRN on social. You can follow their web articles as well, as they post information too.
What's
Um,
I can fast forward a little bit because
it's sort of an easy access spot in the event that there is significant news or there is a significant update that surfaces with the Riley Strain search. So the stream center will stay live. I will be stepping away from the microphone for a little while, but we'll.
all right, so I'm gonna just let this play through because he's stepping away from the microphone. He's going to take a little break, and then we can get some of your comments in here. Let's get going on this. So we're seem pretty divided over how good of a job law enforcement is doing or not doing. That's okay. All opinions are welcome. Just to expect them. Yeah, Kylie Rodney, law enforcement said that they searched for her, and they had that the leg had been cleared. They even told Adventures with Purpose not to search, and she was there 15 feet off of where her phone last pinged. So it does make me wonder. He stepped away, so I'm just showing you the footage of them doing the search, but he's not on right now. So we'll cut back to that in just a few minutes. Bob says there's 800,000 missing children in this country. That's just so gobsmacking when you see all those zeros behind the 8. Just really, really sad. Our poor babies. Yes, I agree. Positive vibes. Kimmy says, the Ladybird Lake drowning comes to mind. The lake is 30 minutes from me. I tell my adult son when he plays to never wander off alone or let your friends wander off. I'm terrified. Yeah, I don't know why. I wish his friends had gone with him. Like, if you know somebody's intoxicated enough and belligerent enough that they're getting kicked out of a bar, and I know these people are young, they're just young, but that's another thing we could teach our kids is stay together, stay in twos, because Kylie Rodney, the same thing happened to her. She was found, but she had her friend had gone home without her. Thankfully, her friend didn't get in the car with her, but Jane doesn't think he was hazed. I think the only thing I could think of on that, because I don't think this was a hazing, but I'm wondering if they were doing some kind of drinking bar crawl or something like that. And he was, maybe he only did have one drink at this bar, but had they been to another bar before that? Yeah, a lot of missing kids. Soldier goes, says, Bob, really hurts all these parents of missing kids to hear the family disparaging not one officer, but the whole police department. Well, I think in this case, if you have to have TikTokers go out and find it, and there's a homeless guy that has your child's shirt, and this was your child, you'd wonder why they weren't following up. So in this case, I feel like, it's warranted. They deserve it. I'm not going to sit here and just defend law enforcement if I don't think they're doing a good job. Yeah, B-. Exactly. The family said it all. And so I understand if you have a loved one and as a member of law enforcement, I'm not trashing all law enforcement. I've been accused of being too pro law enforcement, but I'll just call it as I see it. And in this case, I feel like they waited. I mean, they're now stopped doing the dam. I wish they would have, started this a couple of days ago. Not this case, but it happens a lot in the Mizzou campus. These students are no stranger to alcohol. Look at the 2021 hazing. Thanks for that. Is he a freshman? He's 22, so I don't know, Marilyn. So I don't know. I don't think he is, but he could be. Yeah, could be. 2 of my best friends are police officers. I know they would be top notch on their work. Yeah, most police officers do a great job. But in this case, the family is saying it's a B+. I mean, I'm going to, if it's my child missing, I'm going to go with what the family feels like. The police never acted fast enough. They never do. All right. So let me go ahead and fast forward this, because that's a nice thing about having something on just to see if we're missing anything. So he's back. Let me just get him coming in here.
I want to go to Twitter for our friend and colleague from News Nation, Evan Lambert. He's been working this story, and he says the Cheatham County Sheriff Tim Binkley says that we did not find a body at the Cheatham Dam. He says that they are done for the day, but our affiliate WKRN,
I don't
as
know.
we've been mentioning here on stream, reporting that they are still sifting through the debris this afternoon in the search for Riley Strain. So that is the update. A body has not been found at really at the Cheatham Dam, according to Sheriff Tim Binkley through News Nation's Evan Lambert. They appear to be done for the day. Now sifting through the debris. Now, sifting through the debris to me is important in this sense, in that at this stage, finding the remains of Riley Strain just sitting there at the base of the Cheatham Dam. It sounds like an extremely remote possibility, but clues, any items, something as small as it could be something like a ripped piece of clothing or a shoe or anything that tangibly could make it from the river in downtown Nashville down to the dam itself, something that could travel that distance, 30 or so miles. That is potentially could be perhaps in the debris and could require a much more significant amount of searching through that debris and sifting through it. So updates to follow as those updates come in. This is the most recent update on this story.
So just to recap that, I'm just pausing it. We'll be able to get right back to it. You're not missing anything when I pause it, and I can fast forward over when he goes off camera and skip that. It's just nicer to watch it this way. You can see he's in this area where they have the road closed sign. You can see the yellow circle, that the tall in the beige and black shirt, that is Riley Strain. And you guys know I have to do commentary for fair use a little bit
for updates, and also too, Evan Lambert is working this story as well. Evan has, of course, been with us on stream in the past. Does a phenomenal job for News Nation, and so spotlighting some of the local reporters and national reporters that are doing a lot of diligent work here on the search for Riley Strain. Any questions really quickly? You can punch them in, #AJB. I'll look for them in the comment section. Anything that I can point out, anything that I have missed. I can't be everywhere on every corner of the internet all at once. So anybody else want to point something out to me, you can tweet at me. You can also just #KJB really anywhere on social, particularly here on YouTube Live, and I'll be able to grab that. In fact, let's go to Evan's page. Nothing new there.
So while he's thinking, I'm not cutting away. I'm just pausing it. We can go back to this. I just want to go through a little bit about how this works with, did he remove his shirt? Is this how a homeless person ended up with his shirt on? Because we heard reports from his parents on News Nation Now that, or from somebody who runs a homeless shelter, that she had seen somebody in his shirt. So how did he end up without a shirt, or was it just happened to be the same shirt? It's very distinctive. It's black and tan, half black and half tan. So did he think this was a good idea to go swimming? Did he throw up and try to clean his shirt in the river? Is this why the debit card was found on the bank? Did he take a shirt off? The debit card fell out and he tried to clean it and then just fell in? Did he decide to climb down? I mean, the river was around 50 degrees this time of year. That's really, really chilly. So he's just pausing, but I've restarted it. What do you guys think? Cole says 90% chance he got attacked and robbed by a feral homeless. Could be. Catherine, thank you so much, says he's a senior and was about to graduate. Oh my gosh, how sad. Yeah, I think you're right, Dollar Sterling. It's going to be hard to determine what happened to him. I'm not pausing JB. He's just not talking right now. He's reading. Thank you guys so much for sharing your
What time is
comments.
sundown in Nashville? Find that out. 7 o'clock. Central. So that means 8 o'clock Eastern. That means 2.5 hours from now. So about 2.5 hours of daylight, but really that final hour is going to be really limited. Let's listen here to this live report from WKRN.
Looking for anything unusual. In addition, the TWRA says they have seen some volunteers trying to help with the search on the water. They're working to keep those people safe and out of the way of law
The dam is 25 miles.
enforcement. One of the officers out searching today was Lieutenant Eric Anderson. He tells me for him, this is a case he's especially passionate about.
Reporter tossing to a soundbite here. Again, just getting into the local pathway of this reporter for WKRN. This is live from Nashville, Tennessee.
Now, Metro Police says they are welcoming volunteers. However, they want to make sure that you are staying safe. So if you do want to come out here, they ask that you do so with the Cajun Navy. Reporting live from downtown Nashville, I'm Nikki McGee at News 2.
News 2 being WKRN. Again, follow WKRN.com for updates. They're the local Nexstar station that is reporting on this story. I believe now a second reporter is standing by for a live report. I believe that she's with the Cajun Navy. We'll listen into her live report here momentarily. The live report from the second reporter in.
I'm just fast forwarding it, Todd. Here we go. So you can see them getting ready.
Yeah, Mark, as you just mentioned, we are out with the Cheatham County Sheriff's Office. We are a good 33 miles downstream from where we know crews are also extensively searching in downtown Nashville. Now, we're actually heading to the Cheatham Lock and Dam. This is where crews earlier today shut down that facility where they were searching through debris. When they closed that down, it allowed for any debris, anything down along the river to resurface. Now, as for this Cheatham County crew, they just got out here a few minutes ago. They plan to be out here for another 2 to 3 hours, but really we're just slowly scanning along the embankment, idling along here, searching for really just any clues, anything they can find of Riley. Now, they do tell me they do plan to be out here again early tomorrow morning, continuing these search efforts. But for Mark, I will send it back to you in the studio.
Again, just tapping into some of the live feeds there. I think this is going to be an. Oh, wait. Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm worried about that too.
Did
somebody slip them something
there, but we don't. So, folks, we're going to be wrapping up our streaming coverage here and closing down the live stream across all platforms. If there is any update on this story, we'll let you know about it.
All right, so he's going off the air. Let's grab the next package. So we have so much stuff to get into. Okay, so this is the downtown area where he was last seen. He was at Luke's 32, and he should have been going. So let's talk about body float information. Let me grab this. I just looking for like just an article about how this goes. Okay, so let me just share this with you. So you can see, let me take this down so you guys can see it. So there are a lot of variables that would affect how long he would, be. And I'm actually going to share something with you about let's go down here. Okay, so let me grab this. Okay, can you guys see that? Yeah, all right, so let's go through this together. So this is the shirt, you can see it right here, that Riley was wearing. And how long the body floats, let's go through that. So it can vary a lot depending on the current and the body temperature. It can take, because a body that, like, let's say he did drown, it would fill up with, trigger warning here, decomp gases, and then it would surface for a little bit. Remember, he wasn't reported missing until the next morning, and then the credit card wasn't found except by TikTokers days later. So we don't know, he could have surfaced and nobody was looking in the Cumberland River. Because again, the body cam from the second officer didn't surface till later. So did he surface for a little bit? Because what will happen is he will surface and then the body will sink again back into the water. So the recovery is going to be complicated by how much trash and debris and other animals are in the water. Did he get tangled up in debris? And is he being held underneath the water? And if that is the case, is it possible that he won't come to the surface? What do you guys think?
Researchers are still looking for a 22-year-old college student reported missing in Nashville. Now, the Tennessee Alcoholic Beverage Commission is investigating the bar that served him. Investigators want to know if Riley Strain was overserved before he was kicked out of Luke Bryan's bar. Brendan Tierney reports.
The search effort has been scaled back today for Riley Strain. Metro Police say he was last seen stumbling down Gay Street around 9:45 Friday night.
We want to get our boy home.
Family friend Chris Dingman says Riley's parents have been in Nashville since the weekend trying to figure out what happened to the misuse student after he was kicked out of Luke Bryan's bar. The TABC is now investigating to see if he was overserved there, leading to what the country star called a scary situation in an Instagram post.
It sounds like possibility the watch and the phone was last pinged in the same location. So that kind of discourages us quite a bit, but we're not giving up hope.
Chris says they walked along the river and showed photos of the 6'7" senior to people in homeless camps.
The ironic part of it, they said, yes, Larry Bird was here.
He says that sighting is great, as Riley's Delta Chi fraternity is hanging ribbons on their campus house supporting him.
So we're here on a fraternity formal trip. It's one of my good buddies.
His fraternity brothers waited nearly 16 hours before calling police to report Riley missing.
Extremely frustrating on the family, but we have to trust.
16 hours, that his body, if he did fall in or if he was pushed in, it could have surfaced with the gases and then sunk back down.
In the due process of what's currently going on.
Office of Emergency Management crews used boats and drones to look along the banks of the river, but did not put any divers in the water yesterday. Metro Police say they don't have any plans right now to continue searching in the river and are focused on reviewing security video.
Police are doing their job 100%. We just want to find Riley and get him home, get him to his mom and dad, get him back to campus.
Well, I think after the TikTokers found that debit card on the shore banks of the river, they changed their tune because now they're searching that dam. But before they were like, oh no, he's not in the river. We're going to scale back the search.
Getting back to doing fun stuff. And you.
That was Brendan.
That's so sad that, they didn't jump on that further. So let's look at this. This was posted on Twitter by SF Investigates, and let me just back it up a little bit so you guys can see the water temperature. So this is a chart This is from John Sanders, from Dr. John Whittington, and Mark Williams of the National Underwater Rescue Recovery Institute. And so this is only an estimate. Okay. Now we know the water was 50 degrees of when it should surface. So it'll surface with the decomp gases and then it'll go back under. So this is after that has occurred. So when would he be expected to surface again? Well, we know he went maybe into the water on March 8th, if that's what happened, unless this card was put on the bank to just mislead law enforcement. But we know the water was around 52 degrees, so that's going to put him resurfacing 10 to 14 days. Well, if he went in on the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, that puts him resurfacing sometime between 2 days ago and today. He should have surfaced maybe tonight. So I don't understand, why they're calling off stuff. Other things that can affect the float time, though, can be what was eaten. Did he have a lot of food in his system? Because that will produce gases faster. Medications, medications you're not supposed to take. Alcohol. Well, he was clearly on something, right? I don't know if somebody slipped him something or if he took something himself or if he was intoxicated, but he was clearly on something. And then how thin, muscular, or obese they are. He's very, very thin. So if you're more obese, the fat floats, so you will come up sooner. Not you, but you know what I mean. And then the age, height, and weight of the victim also affects the days. So because he is very, very thin, let me just show you what he looks like in case you guys don't know. Just want to show you how thin he is. He is very, very thin. He's tall. He's 6'5", light brown hair, blue eyes. Because he's very, very thin, he and depending on what he drank, it may be more than the 10 to 14 days for that degree of water, because we know the water was around 52 degrees when he went into the water. So really, really sad. I mean, what a shame. This is the route he took, the final route. I did show you guys the video of him. This is the dam. Let me just show you what that looks like. That's what it looks like. There's an overhead drone shot of the dam. This is one of 8 dams on the Cumberland River, and he is somewhere in this dam. So let me grab this next one for you guys. Oh, we did that one. I have the hotline below if anybody wants to call in. So his mom, let's talk about her for a second. Let me grab this and take this down. Let's talk about his mom. This is just so sad. So his mom recalls the last conversation they had before he went missing. She said it ended with, "I love you." She said, "I've never gone this long without talking to him." She told this to People magazine. Here's another picture of him. He's a handsome young man. So was he targeted? Did somebody see him at the bar, a John Wayne Gacy or Smiley Face SK type of person, and pick him out because he was tall, very, very handsome guy? He would have stood up and he, had had a few drinks. So did somebody follow him, until they, were aware of the cameras and waited till they were out of camera view? Was his card left there after the fact, or did he just simply throw up, try to take off his shirt to clean, and the card fell out and he fell in? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. But his mom says that she wishes she could tell him how much she loves him. She says, "We're going to find you." She said he's a great kid. I mean, this young man was in college. He was going to graduate this year. She said that she talks with his mom a couple times a day. She said if he was having a bad day at school, he would call her and we would talk. She says, I'd be like, "You've got to get through it, bub." She called him bub. "Not every day is going to be perfect. You've got to find the good in everything." So the night before he went missing, she had a migraine, but they were still texting back and forth. So he was in Nashville with his Delta Chi fraternity members out for the night. And she said that he texted her a picture and said a buddy had let him borrow one of his shirts. And he said, "Doesn't this look so Nashville?" Oh, man. And she said that she texted him back, "I have so much fun." He texted her a photo of him at Miranda Lambert's bar. Okay, so he was at another bar. And she thinks he was at Garth Brooks' bar when he FaceTimed her with his buddies. This is really helpful. So he may really have only had one drink at Luke's 32 because they went to at least two other bars. She thinks Miranda's Lambert's bar and Garth Brooks' bar. So this is really helpful to know. She said she was laying down. She didn't want him to know that she didn't feel well, but was just telling him that she was watching a show. She said he and his friends joked with her about why she was in bed so early. They were giving me a hard time, saying it's 7:30. Why are you in bed already? Come on, Mom, get up. She said they FaceTimed for a while. He wanted me to see around. He sounds like such a nice guy. And she was so excited. And then she said we hung up and he texted me and was like, "It was hard to hear you, but I wanted you to see what was happening." And she said that she told him to be safe. Oh, man, make good choices. I love you guys. And he said, "I love you too." And that's the last that his mom heard from him. That's just breaks my heart. So on Tuesday, police said they were doing everything they could to find him, and their investigation was ongoing. But because a bank card it was found near the river, besides the bank card found near the river on the embankment, there was no other physical evidence found. His mom thinks he got turned around and went the wrong way. We know he went in the opposite direction of his hotel. So was the LOP, the LOPS, was that lost? Was he trying to say, "I'm lost"? Was he trying to say, "I'm lost"? She hopes that she can find him, take him home, make his favorite dinner, which was chicken parmesan. And she is asking for prayers. She says, "I want everyone searching for him and keeping him and us in their prayers and thoughts." She said it means so much. It's what keeps us going. So he's a handsome young man, that's for sure. Let me take some comments from the chat. They have called off the search for today. And then we're going to do some more. Let me see. Hi, 1979 ACR. I may be wrong, but didn't law enforcement say the shirt rumor wasn't true during the press conference? Let's look. Let me look. I'll look that up in just a second. Marilyn says about the shirt rumor. Okay, let's look up the shirt rumor together, guys. I'm looking it up to try to see if I can find something. All right. So this is Yahoo News. This is specifically the Independent. Let's see. The text message read "Good Lops." That was the last message received. Let's see. That when I typed in shirt, this popped up. So let's see if they do address the shirt. Some people say lops could be low on power. We know that it could be LOP, low on power. But would it have an S on the end? Could be. Whoa. So questions are mounting. Let's go through some of the questions that other people have asked and see if we know that the Cajun Navy has been asked to assist. They were searching today. They held a press conference with updates. The Cajun Navy is a national disaster response organization formed during Hurricane Katrina. So they're a really good outfit. Their goal is to bring Riley home. So hopefully they can, they're used to searching and doing water searches. So hopefully they will find this. So after the discovery of the Riley strain bank card on Sunday by a pair of TikTokers searching the Cumberland River bank, there's been some question as to the efficiency of the police response. This is why it's, really good that we keep eyes on this. It says Riley was kicked out after one alcoholic beverage, but now we're learning from his mom that he was at 2 other bars prior, so maybe he had multiple drinks. Maybe it wasn't a substance, but had somebody seen him? He was 6'5", he was handsome. Did somebody see him and follow him to the next bar? I don't know. He was with his friends. He was at Luke Bryan's 32 Bridge Food and Drink Bar just before 10 p.m. on March 8th. So the bartender said they gave him one drink and asked him to leave. I wish they had put him in a cab, that his friend had put him in a cab. This just seems like it could have been preventable. We would never know this boy's name. I'm just going through the different questions here to see, because this did come up. We went through the card already. There's another photograph of him. This is what the embankment looks like. Let me just show you guys this. Okay, let me make this bigger for you guys. Just to show you all the debris. Can you guys see this? Let me take this down. So you can just see how the brush should have stopped him from going into the water. Let me back it up one more time. The brush should have stopped him from going into the water. You see how much debris, but you can see all the homeless encampment people. Did somebody get like somebody mentally ill? This is courtesy of WKRN on Twitter. You could just see all the debris. Now we know that the river, he could have stood up in it. They said the first 10 to 15 feet of the river, you can stand in it. So did he get hypothermia? Did he pass out? Was he pushed in? What happened to this young man? But you could see, even if he fell down the embankment, it just seems like he would have been caught in the brush or the trees. And then how did that credit card end up on the embankment? All right, so that's just a little bit of an overview of that. Let me go through some of your comments. Let me back this up to just show his picture on the screen. So that's the dam that they stopped today to try to find him. There's a picture of him. Let's go through some of your questions, see what we can do. Marilyn says the shirt rumor, she had not heard that. Hey, Eva. Eva says, what I feel is that he vomited on himself, he passed out, and someone took advantage of him. Yeah, that could be. That your theory makes a lot of sense. He absolutely could have just, passed out. Hey, Ren. Ren says, but he had to have his ID when bar hopping at that age. Yeah, this was a bank card. Yeah, so what happened to his ID, and how did the bank card fall out but not the ID? Do you think he got rolled for his bank card, and then, maybe it was somebody who was mentally ill and they didn't do anything else about it? They just left it there. They just left the bank card there. What do you guys think? Amelia says all expressed opinions are welcome. Yeah, just all polite opinions are welcome. Could be. So they're agreeing with you, Eva. Jane is welcoming you, Eva. Lola says, if he was medicated, I'm watching my words, that can cause hot or cold flashes. A full effect of a rufinol takes 1 to 2 hours. So if he was given something, and let's just say he was bar hopping and somebody slid something into his drink at one of the bars, they could have known where the cameras were. Maybe this wasn't the first time they had done something like this. Could they have followed him and just waited for it to take effect and then just, rolled him? And this is how he ended up with, with his credit card out. How did the homeless guy end up with his shirt? Ren is sending prayers. Eva says, someone knows something and someone is afraid to say. Marilyn says, yeah, weird behavior. P said, how about the cops going to the homeless camp looking for a person wearing a shirt? Yeah, that would be a great thing to do. Maybe they have done it and they just haven't talked to us about it. I guess we'll find out. He is very thin. Yeah, and that may, so the 10 to 14 days, which means the 14th day would be today, because we know the river was around 52 degrees. It could be take it to a 15th day because he was so thin. He didn't have a lot of fat on him, so he wouldn't have just floated. Let me just show you how thin he is. There. He's really thin. Is there a reward? I have not heard about one. Penjam says, Lops low on power. Thank you for that. Marilyn wants to know where his phone is. Yeah, his phone and I guess his watch both deactivated at the same time. So I don't know. Emotive topics are discussed. We often disagree. Opinions and thoughts are important. We value our chat community very much. We do. Thank you so much. If you don't know, Six Cents Amelia is our head mod. Thank you to all our mods. People are welcoming people. Yeah. Amelia says, please give me a thumbs up. Yeah, I always forget to ask. Please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I'm going to be airing the Chad Daybell trial. And just like the Brian Kohlberger case, that's in Idaho, and it's a capital case. I'm going to be airing that without commentary. If you guys want to watch it, it begins April 1st, which is in 10 days or 9 days now. So subscribe and hit the notification bell. I'll be starting at around 11 a.m. Eastern time. 1300 Toes says, I'm in Australia and we have heard nothing about this. I'm guessing he hasn't been found yet. No, he has not. Pam says the case is so sad. I'm trying to catch up with chat. I'm behind. There he is. Kelly thinks if he was slipped something, probably a fellow classmate who thought it was a joke or a prank and it went very, very wrong. Oh, wow. That would just be so heartbreaking. Jane says, welcome. No, they haven't found him yet. And yeah, and they've called off the search for today, guys. So we're just going through the case a little bit with you guys' theories. If you want to join the top chat, come on up and let's talk. And Jess says, hey, Pendulum, you could be right. I thought maybe it was a typo error and it was meant to be LOL, but your idea seems more credible. Yeah, getting your guys' comments really helps a lot. Dollar Sterling says, I think the bartender should have helped him by calling the police, not letting him stumble out, or calling the cab. Instead, they just escorted him to the door and let him go. If you know somebody's too intoxicated to be in your bar, is there some responsibility for the bar owner, especially if this person is paid for a drink at your establishment? Is there a responsibility by the bar owner to call a cab for that person? What if we just made that just something that was just done out of good common sense? Blue Guru says, I believe he sustained a head injury when he fell and simply stumbled down the river bank. But yeah, we saw him running into that pole, right, where he runs into it and he falls down. Maybe he hit his head. Great point. Welcome, Blue. Glad you're here. Share your comments and thoughts on this, guys. Eva Lee says he's not in the river. I'm telling you, someone took advantage of him. Has anyone dropped before and took advantage of? Yeah, I mean, we've seen this in cases like the John Wayne Gacy case, where he was taking advantage of young men for nefarious purposes that I'm not going to say on the air, but he was taking them back to his house and he was burying them underneath his house. But he was also doing other stuff too. Like when he ran out of space underneath, I think he had like 20 plus victims under his house. They started throwing them in the river. So did somebody take advantage of him, leave the credit card behind? I don't know. Blue Guru says, I hope they find him soon so his family can find some peace. The theories are painful for them. I agree. Meanwhile, I think there are 3 or 4 kids also missing from the area under different circumstances. We have too many missing kids, you guys. Dollar Stream says the woman that was pulled out of the river, I wonder how long she had been in it and was she ever looked for? Pam says, I'm really late, but I wondered if he was, medicated at the bar. Has any chatter been about his sobriety before I entered? Well, I just read through his mom's statement, and he had been at 2 other bars prior to this. So he could have been roofied, or he could have just been drinking. It could just be he drank and threw up on himself and went down to try to wash his shirt and his credit card fell out. It could be something, that simple, but it could also be something that's not that simple. Brother Mike says over 300 watching, only a little over 100 thumbs up. Please give it a thumbs up. Thanks for that, Mike. Blue Guru says, anyone who saw his mama at the press conference yesterday could clearly see she's threadbare. Bless her heart. Yeah, I can't imagine. If this was my child, I can't even imagine. Sierra said law enforcement would have data on where to expect the body to surface. I suppose that would be the dam. I agree. I'm wondering if, but there's still a couple of hours of daylight. So why are they calling off the search so early? Why not, if we know that in 52-degree water, which is what the water was when he went in, that it's supposed to be 10 to 14 days, and this is the 14th day, I would just think you would be extra vigilant. I don't know. 1300 Toe says, from what I've seen, it looks like he's been medicated. I'm watching my words because he was disoriented and very unsteady on his feet. No one stopped to help when he fell over. Yeah, that was really sad. Just watching people staring and continuing on their way. He could be stuck on something in the water. You're right, Joan. That's very, very, very possible. Lola thinks somebody slipped him Rohypnol. Dollar Sterling says, I think on Friday they pulled the woman out, if I'm not mistaken. Blue Guru sending love and light. This is our head mod. Oh, if you don't know, Reporter Room has a Facebook group that does true crime and missing person cases. If you want to join us, it's a really nice active group, really nice people. Jane says the 2 waters that they said that he ordered makes me wonder about that too. Yeah, was it just two waters in addition to an alcoholic drink? But we know he was at other bars, so it could be true, but maybe not. Pam says hello to Enjaz. Zero says law enforcement could be focusing on leads to whatever gang could be doing a series of crimes. Yeah, maybe they called off the water search with 2 hours of daylight because they found something else out that needs their attention. That's very possible. And they're not going to tell us what it is. Yeah, that's a great point. He's very thin and tall. Yes, he is, Jane. Lovely young man. Any parent would be proud of him. I agree. Blue Guru says, I always wish that people had stopped at the light when he fell, got out of their vehicles and helped him. It was a really bad fall. Yeah, he looks like he really hit his head. Oh, I'm on Instagram. Yep. Thanks for that, Amelia. Was he dehydrated? Yeah, he could have been, Pam. He could have been dehydrated. We don't know how much he ate that night. I'm sure law enforcement knows this. Kathy thinks his mom is heading toward a nervous breakdown. I'm on Twitter, you guys, if you want to follow me there. Dollar Sterling says, if he fell, he could have gotten knocked out, or was he struggling against the current? Hey, Rubby. Rubby says the latest update by law enforcement said they see no indication of foul play. I think he's in the river. Thanks for that. Pam says his mom breaks my heart. I feel the same way. I feel so bad for his mom. She was FaceTiming with him that night. He was trying to show his mom where he was. I mean, he just sounds like a really nice young man. Zara says someone could have seen his cash or phone or jewelry. Yeah. Yeah. And he was a good-looking guy. Okay. We're saying hello to each other. Let's see. 1300 show says, I wish someone had stopped too. Seriously, here in Australia, we stop to help someone if they fall over. Yeah, it was really sad to see how many people just walked by him that night. It's really sad that the bartender or the bouncers or whoever was in this club thought he was too intoxicated to be in their club, but not so intoxicated that they couldn't be bothered to call him a cab. I just think that, if we did that, just little courtesies like that, it could make such a big difference. We might not even know this young man's name. Nashville has one of the worst medication problems. Thanks for that, Zero. I did not know that. Hey, Samantha. Good to see you. I agree. It's heartbreaking. Very, very sad. A lot of people would agree. Such a shame. Jane says, so cute about his shirt and talking to his mom. Yeah, he borrowed the shirt from his friend and he was talking to his mom. He was FaceTiming with her. Blue says, just one person, let that be a reminder to all of us. Yeah, one person can make such a difference. And that's why, sharing this and getting his name and photo out there, maybe he did end up at somebody's house. Maybe something nefarious did happen. Maybe the law enforcement said initially they didn't think he was in the water. Now they're changing their tune. So I don't know. Yeah, Riley's not 5'6". He's 6'5". That's correct. Did I say it backwards, Susan? I've said it a couple of times. I misspeak sometimes. Thanks for the correction. Micro Kimmy says, oh my gosh, that nickname I call my oldest Bub. His mom calls him Bub. Aw. Samantha says he's 6'7". I've read that it was 6'5", but he's tall. I mean, I think, he's going to stand out. 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". I've seen all different heights. KCJ says, I don't understand why he kept going in the wrong direction. Why didn't he call his friends or even ask the police officer for directions? I don't know. This is where I think, was he roofied? And if he did fall in, will we know? Luga Ruth says, if he had a concussion, he was not in his right mind. Yeah, we saw him hit the pole and fall. So did he hit his head too? Samantha says, in my day, LOL means lots of love. And he said lops, LOPS. And somebody said that means losing power. So did he lose power? Was he just trying to tell his mom that he felt like he was going the right way? You're not late. We're just going. We've been following this case. Maybe he's in jail. I hope that police would know if he was in jail. I really hope that. Kathy says he very well could have had amnesia from the fall. Yeah, great point, Kathy. He could have. I mean, he did really go down hard. And I'm just shocked at how many people just walked by him. What do you guys think about that? Is it okay that they bounced him out of the club, so he was so intoxicated you can't stay in here, but they couldn't call him a cab? Or maybe they offered to and he said no. What about his friend that went downstairs with him but didn't go out the door with him? Did the bouncer think, well, he's going with his friend, he'll be okay? But then the friend didn't go? I don't know. It could have just been, a bad sequence of events. Blue Guru said he could have simply blacked out by the time he was at the river. Yeah, and there was two bridges. Did he go over one of the bridges and just fall in that way? And did the card wash up because he fell in further up river and maybe he surfaced and then went back down, which we talked about a little bit ago. I'm watching my words. Due to the decomp gases, he surfaced and then went back down. But the card, as the river, tide went out, the card became visible. I don't know. Kimmy thinks they'd know by now. And they're welcoming Susan. Okay, let me get to some more comments. Hey, Joanne. Joanne says Madeline Soto's mom should take note from how you come out fighting for your child. Yeah, I think if you're the parents of this child, you're going to do everything you can to try to find your child. And he's an adult. I mean, he's 22, but still, it's just sad. Normally, if someone's missing, they say 24 to 48 hours. You usually have to wait. Jane says a lot of debris, lots of encampment. Yeah, I agree, Jane. Lots and lots of debris. Michael, hey, good to see you, says there are a lot of people that do that in the bars. Kelly wants to know, was there a wallet? We don't know. I would think he would have a wallet. Hey, Truth Seeker. Truth Seeker says his mother said it wasn't a shirt. And you're right. She said that he borrowed it from one of his fraternity brothers. And he was excited and showed her in the FaceTime that he had this shirt on. Want to know if she thought he, looked nice for the area. Did he fit in with the area? Zero says, when I lived on the water, law enforcement knew where the bodies were expected to wash up. Locals would know where to search, where they told us. Well, hopefully they'll find him tomorrow. Anne says, my heart breaks for his mom. I pray they find him. I do too. Alborica, good to see you. No rewards, just a missing person flyer. Thanks for that. Somebody was asking earlier about that in the chat. Kelly Ritchie says, parents said didn't set up the Apple Watch. It was just connected to Bluetooth. Thanks for that, Kelly. Thank you so much for subscribing, Janine. I really appreciate you. Welcome to Reporter Room. We're glad that you're here. Sorry it's under such trying circumstances. Micro Kimmy thinks the watch and the phone got wet. It could be that they got waterproof. It could be that they, sunk down so low that they went out. Because how far underwater can you take one of those watches? Can you take it down 15 or 20 feet? How deep can the watch go if he was caught under something? Great point. Blue Guru says, thanks for hosting. We need to put an effort behind all these missing kids. Brother Mike said, I think he may have had a head injury and someone did take advantage of him. Hey, Mary, good to see you. Pam says, maybe this case will change the way overly intoxicated people are handling. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? Maybe a little care, compassion, and attempts at safety will become important. Yeah, if that's all that it was, and it could have just been his buddy stayed with him, or his buddy made sure he got into a cab and was directed back to the hotel, we would never know Riley Strain's name. I wish that's how it would have happened. His friend said at least one of them should have walked with him. Very sad. I don't think he was in the river either. I think he has been rolled. Wow. And Jazz says, I was thinking the same thing, that he fell. He really banged his head. Hey, Frederick. Frederick said, only if you're driving, then they will be responsible. Yeah. That's the only time we hear about if people are intoxicated is if they're in the car behind the wheel. And that's important. But I think being, safe too, especially if you're running these bars and you have college kids coming to your area or a lot of tourists. I just think a nice thing would be if they're intoxicated enough that we're going to throw them out of the bar, we're going to put them in a cab. And maybe they, to be fair to Luke's, maybe they thought that this friend was going with them, but and found out later that the friend didn't go. I don't know what to think. Joanne says, can't believe the police officer, though, not taking note. He just spoke to him when he was gone, when he turned around. I think he looked, he didn't look intoxicated on that little bit of body cam footage that we saw. And the police officer was, I guess a truck window had been smashed. So he was investigating something, but it shows you that this was somewhat of a dangerous area. The fact that there had been a break-in on this truck tells me that there were, nefarious people around. Albrica says most likely a homeless woman found. Alps Child, hey, good to see you. I heard on another YouTube channel that a friend tried to leave the bar with Rayleigh, but the bar would not allow it because the friend had a tab open. This bar should have called Riley a cab. Wow. Gosh, if they did, they've just opened up a lawsuit to me. If I were the mother and I heard this over a bar tab, that you wouldn't call a cab and you would just you call the friend back. If this is true, that to me is grounds, in my opinion, for a lawsuit if he's not found safely, or if he wasn't roofied. If this was just an accident, it was so preventable. Let me just clip through. Kimmy says, if his phone was low on power, so if he was saying to his mom or his family member they was texting with, if his phone was low on power and his watch was just a number share watch, meaning it's not separate line but worked via Bluetooth, and the cell, his phone was dying, then that would explain. You're right, Kimmy. That would explain why his phone and his watch both went out at the same time. That's really a great theory. Thank you for sharing that with us. Suzanne says, I'm thinking someone could have slipped something into his drink. I'm worried about that too. And we know from his mom that she was FaceTiming with him that she believes he was at least 2 other bars. He says, that's what I was thinking. Why quit now? Still daylight. Yeah, 2 hours of daylight, unless something else came up. Which it could be. They may have said, nope, he's not on the water. We just found something else. And maybe they went to go look at that. Sid said, I'm sorry, but no 22-year-old uses LOPS, meaning low on power supply. It's simply a typo. I'm the same age as Riley and have never used it or seen anyone use it. Thanks for that, Sid. Alborica, if you want to join as a channel member, the join button is next to the subscribe button. We would love to have you as part of Reporter Room. Frederick said, if you just walk out of the bar, it's on you. Right. And in this case, he was escorted. He was told to leave. He was told to leave. And then we just heard a few minutes ago that his friend was trying to go with him. I don't know if, if the bar is going to dispute this or not. And they're saying that they told his friend that he had to stay because he had to pay a bar tab. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Would that make the bar have some kind of liability if this is true? Sarah says, I think cops are concerned about finding an offenders while waiting to see if he shows up in the dam. Yeah, it could be. They may have some information now that we don't know. Thank you all for being here. This is NJAS. We love having you here. Hey, Gina. Gina says, coming from a recovering alcohol and somebody who has been roofied. That was roofied. Thank you so much for that, Gina. Appreciate that input. Alpshaw said, if he was super intoxicated, more likely that he was saying lost, don't you think? That was my initial theory. Also, that he was saying lost. Yeah, our Facebook is really great. It's got a lot of really nice people in there. And we do other cases. We do a variety of different cases. Nita says she's very heartbroken for the family. Hey, Trina, glad to see you. Kimmy says, Jessica, the mods, I don't have the ability to post on the group messenger chats. I can view it, cannot post or comment. On the group messenger chat, I'm not sure I understand. Are you talking about YouTube or Facebook? You should be able to post on Facebook, Kimmy, you should be able to. I'll look at your account, but you haven't been restricted by anybody. Normally, I would be notified if somebody got restricted. Birdie's Crime Chat says, thank you so much for covering Riley's story. My pleasure. Sid says, just because they haven't seen evidence of foul play doesn't mean there isn't evidence of foul play. Yeah, fair point. You're right. Fair point. Alfschild says, thank you to you, Jane. Jane says, sad no one helped when he fell. Yeah, it could have just been so simple. Alfschild said, Riley was that intoxicated after one additional drink at Luke's bar. I feel like he was already super intoxicated before he got there. Yeah, it could be. He could have been. We know he was from his mom's she thinks he was at 2 different bars at least before he got there. Joanne says, hi, everybody from Liverpool. Want to stay safe. I think Riley was let down a lot. I think he was too. Darler says he was considering to his mom. A lot of young men wouldn't have bothered calling his mom. Yeah, he sounds like a really nice young man. He does. Hey, Rena. Rena says, I believe that he was going to try to hook up with someone like Tinder or something, or simply hitting his head and then falling over the edge. Homeless would probably just be opportunistic. Yeah, it could be. Could it be he surfaced and law enforcement wasn't looking and somebody got the debit card at that point, realized they didn't have the PIN and just threw it away? I mean, I don't know. It's all just, I don't know what to think. Yeah, it's just all so crazy. It certainly didn't need to go like that. And I just do want to thank our producers, George Brown, Jane J., and Sasha Angel. I am going to be covering thank you for your super thanks and super chats this month. And thank you to our channel members. If you guys want to join me, I am going to be covering the Chad Daybell trial. It's a capital punishment case, just like the Ryan Kohlberger case, and it's also in Idaho. So if you want to hit the notification bell, that begins on April 1st. I also have it posted where you can, but follow me and hit the notification bell so you don't miss that. And I also have a video tomorrow. Be on the lookout for that on the Delphi case of Richard Allen. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye. Please subscribe.